Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is the second day where we try and practice reciting some of the Quran. And yesterday we did the dua for reciting the Quran. So I'm going to start just by revising that quickly. So again, just make sure you're ready, and obviously I'm going to read it and then you have a chance to practice it. So listen carefully and then try and repeat it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. So again, just before we go any further, I'm going to remind you of the importance of breathing properly, making sure your breath is in control. So you're breathing in through your nose, taking your time, and breathing out through your mouth. So just follow a couple of your breaths and make sure your breath's in control, because this is what we use. Every single one of the letters in the Arabic alphabet is basically the breath hitting a certain part of the mouth. And when you've got your breath in control, it just makes it so much easier. So again, I'm just going to quickly revise this dua for reciting the Quran. I think it's really important. When we recite this dua correctly and we understand what it means, what happens is we actually get protection from the devil, from shaitan. And it becomes easier to concentrate. So when we start with this dua, we get into a zone where we're actually not as distracted as we usually are. This is why this dua is important, and I think it's worth taking the time to really practice it properly. So again, I'm just going to briefly go through it, and then maybe we'll move on a little bit as well. So I'm going to read it, and after I read, I'll leave the space. So make sure you practice. Again, make sure the place you're in gives you the ability to practice out loud. It's quite important. So remember to breathe. A'udhu. Good. And again, just bringing that awareness back to the then it's from the throat. A'udhu. A'udhu. Good. And just try and practice it without too much force as well, just with your breath. Billahi. Good. And it's always helpful just to slow down and break it up. A'udhu billahi minash shaitan. So again, if you smile on these letters, it's easier. Minash shaitan. And when you come to the ta, the lips go round and the tongue makes a bowl. So ta. Then moving back onto the noon. Nirra. And just taking time on the ra. The ra is one of the hardest letters to say. So just practice the ra. 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 Good. Again, take your time. Just figure out how you say the ra. Then nirra. Shaytanirra. Nirrajim. Good. Again, take your time. Just give it a practice. Minash shaytanirrajim. Good. Remember to breathe as well. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الشيطان الرجيم. Good, so that's just a recap of yesterday, just to remind ourselves of where we went. Again, take your time and practice it. This is what we'll always recite before we start reciting the Quran. And just for today, I just want you to again take your time on this. Bring more attention towards this. Practice it properly. Understand the meaning of this dua. And just take a bit of time to get used to the place you're going to use for practicing the Quran. And taking time out, just actually taking some time out of your life and focusing on reciting the word of Allah properly. So just getting used to that idea and really practicing this dua, properly. I was thinking to maybe move on, but in all honesty, this dua is really, really powerful. When we learn to recite this better, when we do move on in our next lesson to the next part of the Quran, to the first verse of the Quran, then we'll notice it just becomes easier for us to actually come into connection with the Quran, to actually be in touch with the letters of the Quran. So again, I'd recommend listening to this, practicing it, and trying to practice it even while you're traveling and going around, and really making it a part of your life. It's a really strong dua to get rid of the effects of the devil which happen throughout our day. So I hope you enjoy this recording and you practice it, and inshallah I'll see you tomorrow.